Hey guys, my name is Dice Rowan, and today we're going to be taking a look at an often forgotten 80s gem. It's weird and quirky, and it features Vincent Price. It also has a pretty decent rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So, without further ado, this is The Monster Club. The Monster Club was directed by Roy Ward Baker and was released on April 2nd, 1981, as a British horror anthology-style movie. It's based from works by Ronald Chetwynd Hayes, who wrote several horror books during his career. Like I said, it stars Vincent Price, John Carradine, Donald Pleasence, and Stuart Whitman. The movie starts by introducing us to author R. Chetwynd Hayes, or at least the on-screen version of him, played by John Carradine. Walking alone at night, Hayes is approached by a starving man, played by Vincent Price. He offers to help the man and quickly finds out that he's actually a vampire. The end. Okay, so he didn't actually kill him. Thankfully, Mr. Price is a humanitarian type of bloodsucker, who just needed a quick meal and had no intention of killing Hayes. He introduces himself as Erasmus, and is delighted to have gotten such a delicious meal from his favorite author. Hayes, though rather put off by this, tells Erasmus that he's glad he could help, but he really just wants to go now. However, Erasmus informs him that he can't let him leave without repaying his donation of blood. So, he offers to bring him to a place full of all sorts of monsters to give him material for future books. And what's the name of such a place?
It's called the, Monster Club.
Of course! They even have a theme song.
Monsters rule all cage. Monsters rule all cage.
In case you hadn't already guessed, this is the song Monsters Rule OK, performed by the viewers, during which we get to see a crowd of, for lack of a better term, Halloween masks. Of course, it was the early 80s, we can't expect too much. So Erasmus and Hayes enjoy some blood and tomato juice, while discussing the different types of monsters, the genealogic tree, if you will. And please, dear God, don't ask me to repeat them. One such creature is called a shadmock, which has a special ability when it comes to whistling. This leads us into our first story involving a couple who make a living by stealing from wealthy individuals. They come across an ad in the newspaper looking for a secretary. This was before Craigslist, mind you. So the woman, Angela, goes to the mansion under the guise of a secretary in order to investigate what valuables the owner may possess. There she meets Raven and finds that he's not exactly easy on the eyes. So she flees home and tells her boyfriend that she refuses to go back. So the next day Angela returns to the mansion. Raven is a very lonely guy who only has pigeons for company due to people finding him to be rather gruesome. So it would only make sense that with Angela's new presence in his life, he falls for her. This certainly puts a strain on her relationship with her boyfriend, though, but he convinces Angela once again to return to the mansion and this time bring him something so he can see if there's anything valuable they could steal or melt down. That day, Angela gets a small glimpse of what makes Raven so odd, when he uses his whistle to turn a cat, who killed one of his pigeons, into a smoldering pile of blech. Angela takes an item back to her boyfriend, who decides it would just be better to find Raven safe. That plan gets even better! At least to the boyfriend, when Raven proposes to Angela. This way, Angela can get the highly expensive ring and the combination to the safe. Raven tells Angela that he's a shadmock, which doesn't seem to shock her one bit for some reason. He also tells her that they'll throw a party so she can meet his relatives. While everyone dances, Angela slips away and manages to open Raven's safe. However, he catches her stealing his shit and tells her that that doesn't matter. As long as she loves him and will marry him, she could take whatever she wants. Angela rejects Raven and tells him that she never loved him and thinks he's absolutely hideous. So he whistles and melts her face off. Angela still manages to return to her boyfriend and scar him for life, while Raven wallows in extreme depression. And with that, we get another song called Sucker for Your Love by B.A. Robertson. After this, we get our next story, which is presented as a movie by the now grown-up boy in the film. The rather shy boy goes through his life spending very little time with his father as he works only at night, and being told to beware of men with violin cases. So clearly his dad's a vampire, and I don't know why any self-respecting kid wouldn't suspect this. Who knows, maybe he's just severely sheltered from horror stuff. Apparently, it's an amazing feat to jump over a foot-wide puddle in this kid's school. Speaking of, a bully dares the boy to jump the puddle, to which other classmates say he couldn't possibly do. Kid, I swear to the gods, if you fail on this level, not even having a vampire for a father can help you. Hey look, it's a wild Dr. Loomis. Actually, this is a clergyman who saves the boy from a sound beating by the school bullies.
But I'm not a stranger. I'm a clergyman. Would you like a caramel?
It becomes extremely apparent that this child isn't exactly bright, as he tells the clergyman all about his father's sleeping habits, that he's from Europe and the Count. Oh, and that his father sleeps in the basement. If you look closely, you can almost see Mr. Pleasence salivating at how fucking easy it was to find a vampire. Later on, while his mother is out shopping, the boy decides to go to the basement like the clergyman suggested, in order to try to spend more time with his father. But he finds that his father sleeps in a coffin. What a twist! So the boy runs out of the house in a panic, and by another shocking twist, we find out that the clergyman is actually a vampire hunter, joined by 2 other hunters. They go into the house and find the vampire they have been hunting for months. They then stake him as the mother returns. You can't tell me that wasn't funny. Then, as a last act of defiance, the father bites Donald Pleasence, turning him into a vampire to be hunted by the other 2 hunters. After a rather slapstick-style chase, they stake Donald Pleasence in the heart and carry him out on a stretcher. And we get a happy ending in that the father was wearing his stake-proof vest, so he wasn't actually killed. With that, we switch back to the club with a different sort of entertainment about to begin, with the song The Stripper performed by Knight. During this, we get a strip show. Literally. Then our last story featuring a creature called the Hungu, a mix of ghoul and human. It starts off with a horror movie director searching for the perfect location for his next film. He goes to Lowville and finds a remote, eerie town. He spends some time talking with the equally creepy innkeeper, who tells him he's not going to make it back. I'm pretty sure you can take the guy, dude. Oh, fuck! Yeah, this is the perfect place to film a horror movie. If you can find your way out before the townspeople cut you up for stew. Well, the director makes it back to his car, however, it won't start. As a horror director, he really should know the rules by now. In any case, he ends up locking himself into a room in the inn, in order to get away from the severely grabby townsfolk. He meets the daughter of the innkeeper, Luna, who clues him into the fact that this isn't any normal town. Apparently, the people living there dig up the dead to use the wood, clothes, and even flesh to survive. Now, having this information, the director wisely follows Luna's advice, and hides in the church as the ghouls can't get to him there. He finds the journal of the priest who died there, and learns about how the ghouls came to the town and the town's downfall. The director uses the power of Jesus to fend off the ghouls when Luna attempts to join him in the church, and tells her that when he gets out of there, he wants to take her with him. Luna tells him that they need to escape before the elders arrive that night. So, wielding a cross, he and Luna make a break for it. They make it to the other side of the mist before one of the rocks the ghouls are throwing hits Luna, breaking her back. The director goes to find help and seems to get it from some police officers. However, it turns out they are an escort for the elders, and take him back to the town to be eaten. And that gives us the last story told by Erasmus, who then proceeds to try to induct Hayes into the Monster Club. After proving how lethal humans can really be with a little history lesson, Hayes is accepted into the club. With that, we get one last song called The Monster Club, performed by the Pretty Things, as Erasmus and Hayes join in dancing with everyone else, or everything else. And so, the credits roll with the end of the movie. Now let's discuss this piece, shall we? Acting-wise, there's really not that much that impressed me. But you can't expect much from a movie like this. Nothing was truly cringeworthy, at least. And it seemed like, if nothing else, Mr. Price and Mr. Carradine were at least having fun with their roles. All in all, I think everybody did a decent job with their parts. And nothing detracted from what was going on with the individual stories. The effects and the costumes are definitely lacking, but again, you can't expect too much here. The look of each of the stories, and even the parts with Erasmus and Hayes, are very different and unique. The first story had a gloomy atmosphere mixed with a gothic touch. The second had a playful tone to it while keeping everything relatively plain. The third definitely pulled off the isolated and eerie aesthetic that the plot called for. And the club had a wonderful look to it that was both 70s and horror inspired. Can I just say that I want that coffin table that Erasmus and Hayes are sitting at? The music used did something similar to what Phantom of the Paradise did, in that the numbers are performed live on stage. Each one was good and played in well with the atmosphere of the club. I can't say I found any of them to be weak or lacking in the right tone. Plus, they were a nice buffer in between stories. Each of the stories kept with the horror theme, as well as the anthology concept, with the fact that Erasmus was telling them as the link. With each one having a different director, you can definitely see the different styles, and I think it all flows nicely. You had one that was rather somber and sad, a lighthearted and funny one, as well as a rather creepy and frightening one. While there were a few things from each story that left a few loose ends, I don't feel like they hindered the stories, and all of them serve the purpose of not only educating Hayes, but giving him inspiration as a horror author. I'm rather fond of that concept, honestly. This is one of those fun little rides through an entirely different and even ridiculous world. That doesn't mean it's not enjoyable, though. I would recommend this movie to Vincent Price fans, especially if you want to see him in the role of a vampire, those who like anthologies, and anyone who enjoys something that doesn't take itself too seriously, but still keeps the classic horror vibe. With that being said, I'm going to give this film 6 out of 10 bloody thumbs up. I'll hopefully be adding it to my collection when I come across it, but I won't necessarily be going out of my way to hunt it down. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like to let me know. And don't forget to leave a comment down below telling me what you thought of this movie, and any other films you'd like to see me review. Also, don't forget to share this video to help the channel grow, and subscribe for more videos like this. See you later. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to be visiting a local haunt for a nice drink.
Welcome to the Monster Club.
The Monster Club.